Hey y'all, this is your girl Lisa, and it's Father's Day. So I figured I'd come live and we talk about dads. The dad you had, the dad you didn't have, the ones you wanted. So I'm gonna wait for everybody to get into the live and I'm gonna give it a couple of minutes, get everybody situated to see I went live, and then we could start talking this talk. You know what I'm saying? Um, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Leilani, how we doing? Hey, I'm gonna go look at I'm gonna pull it up on my iPad so that I can see, but I don't get super distracted. Cause you know how your girl get distracted. So you know. All right. So today is Father's Day. It's celebrated this third Sunday in June. I don't know the significance or why they do it that way. So I could lie and make up something to sound good, but I don't know why they do it that way. If anybody knows why they celebrate Father's Day, the way they celebrate Father's Day, let me know. Um, I grew up without my father. He passed away when I want to say I was 6, almost 7, or 5, almost 6. I don't know exactly. Hey, yeah, yeah. It was in 1972 and it was in October. I remember it being cold. And I remember the commotion that went on behind my father dying. My mom trying CPR, trying to say, I remember all this. And this was back when I was the baby, because certain things just stick. I remember her, telling me to stay in my room. I remember it taking a minute for the ambulance to get there. I remember her trying her best before she paid attention to the fact that I was watching. I remember them sitting in the bed talking about where we were going for our summer vacation, because both of them worked at a hospital. They took time off during the summer so that we can take the classic summer vacation. And it was always somewhere. One year it was Canada, one year it was Mexico, one year it was California, one year it was Texas. And hey, that's baby. I remember that. And I remember they were sitting there talking. He went to the bathroom and it took him forever to come back. And that's why she went to check. And he was laying on the floor in the bathroom. And it wasn't a super small bathroom, but it wasn't a super big bathroom. It was tub, sink, toilet, square room. And her trying CPR to revive him, her screaming. I remember these things. I remember not going to the funerals. They had to keep somebody behind, and somebody had to stay home with me because every time I got dressed, every time they would dress me, I would take a piece off. Every time they would put the tights on, I would take a piece off. And eventually I just ripped the tights because I wasn't going. And they just got tired of redressing me and redoing my hair. So my grandmother was like, I can't do this. Somebody stayed at home with me. I didn't go to my grandfather's funeral. It started a very long line of me not going to funerals, and he was my grandfather, but that's the only father I know. To me, that was my daddy. That was my daddy. That was my disciplinarian. That was my savior. That was my world. That was my daddy. And I was a baby when he passed away. And I never really much thought about my actual sperm donor slash father. And sometimes when you speak about your fathers or your dads, which holds more weight? Does anybody know? Okay, yeah, yeah. Well, I'll talk to baby and we will see what's up. She does most of that. That's what I'm looking for, y'all. I'm a little slow. She does most of our date setup as far as the things that we do. Hey, Veronica. So, what's more significant? Daddy, father, which one? Because when the whole baby daddy thing came out, I used to hate to hear that's just my baby dad. I used to hate to hear that. And I still to some degree hate to hear that. Because that's my child's father. All right, I mean, what you'll do is just email us and then we can talk about the logistics and everything. I'm talking to y'all. If y'all want to, y'all know how I get. Try not to look. I try not to look at the chat. Y'all know I get off track. But which is more? Because to me, it's daddy. To me, daddy holds more significance, more weight. To me, it's that's my daddy. Father to me seems more formal. Right. But what's more heartfelt? What's more, is it father or daddy? Because to me, father's formal. To me, father is yes, father, no, father. It's not like that's my daddy. To all the little ah, father's a DNA giver. Okay. See, that's what I'm asking. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's just like there's mother. Don't nobody call their mother mother. They call him a mama or mom. You know what I'm saying? I feel like daddies need the same. I feel like dads need the same distinction. I think mother and father are formal. You know, that's when these are the people that are not necessarily, what's the word I'm looking for? We might not be close. But that's my mother. That's my father. Because I never did my mother. I mean, if I'm speaking to somebody, I guess it depends upon the situation. But no, that's my mom. That's my mama. I still, the distinction is that's my mama. You know what I'm saying? That's my mom or mother is I don't know. But my dads were Papa and Grandpa. I call my dad Daddy. That's his name, but he didn't raise me right. Well, I what's the, I've never known my father. I've heard stories. I've seen a picture. I have what I think is a memory, but I've never known him as a child, definitely not as an adult. And I don't think it was my place to go look for him. You the one had me. I didn't ask to be here. You two got together and decided y'all gonna do the thing, and out came a baby. And if you wanted to see me, if there was some kind of parental pull, some kind of I need my baby in my life, you would have found me regardless of the situation, regardless of the times. And if not, then I'm cool. I don't remember ever looking for my father because to me, my dad passed away when I was a kid. So I had nothing to look for. I don't remember ever looking or having the desire to look. For my father. Because as far as I was concerned, my dad passed away when I was a kid. So there's nothing to look for. I know when I was young, I used to go to the cemetery because I was that's the 70s. So kids walked everywhere. We walked everywhere. We got put out the house on at Saturday afternoon, and you come back when it's when the street light come on. And I used to walk from my house to the cemetery, which wasn't that far away. It was over by my school. And could I walk to school every morning? No. Could I walk to the cemetery? I used to walk and I used to just sit there and I used to talk to him and, tell him about what was going on to feel close to him. And eventually I stopped doing that. And I just got to the point where I could talk to him in my head. And he was always, that's my daddy. So I came here today to talk about all fathers and the father situation, the fatherless situations, the daddies that are there, the daddies that are not there, the daddies that are there but are not there. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And to give the daddies their flowers, to give the daddies their props, just like we give the mommies. Now, the mommies have a different connection with their kids because it starts off as a completely physical connection. Fathers have a DNA connection. And I guess that's quote unquote physical. I guess that can be considered physical, but they didn't carry the baby. So a lot of times we look toward the mother when it comes to the kids. But let's look toward the daddies. Let's look toward the papas. Because they hold a special place in that twosome, the mother and the father, just like the mama does. So for a second, y'all in your heads, or if you want to say it out loud, because can't nobody hear you. I can't anyway. Say thank you if you want to your dad. Now let's be clear. Let me be clear. Just like I don't think every mother should have popped out a baby, I don't think every daddy should have popped out a baby. I'm not saying this is a blanket statement that just because somebody is a daddy, he is better than or more than. I'm just saying if your daddy, for however he was in your life, for however long he was in your life, left an impact on your life and it was a positive one, I see. Look at you. Anyway, and he was a positive impact on your life, then take a moment to say thank you or I love you, daddy, even if he's not in the room with you, even if he's not on earth with you no more, especially if he's not on earth with you, because y'all know he'll hear you. So here we go. I remember the short time we had together. I remember being his baby. Now, he was a disciplinarian. Make no mistake about it. I cut my hair one year. One year I was like, I think I was 4. Because now understand, he was born in the 20s. Now he might not have been born. Hold on. Because I think my dad was 7 years older than my mama. So he was not born in the 20s. He was born like 1918 or 1919. Yeah, Lee. I'm old. Anyway, so he was born in the era of beat the children. Just was what it was. It is what it is. So while I was his baby, he would still tap that booty. So I remember my worst beating from him. I was like 4 years old. Now understand, to give you a little backstory. Growing up, I was born with no hair. Not a lick of hair. I might have had a wisp. I might have had hair on my head, but it wasn't enough to actually look like hair so much than fuzz. By the time I was 2, I had a little afro. I imagine if you pull the hair out, because it was tight afro. It was curly. It's just curly hair. Imagine if you pulled it out, it would hit around my neck, but it wasn't. It was a fro. By the time I was getting ready to go to kindergarten, I had hair down the middle of my back. So give y'all a little backstory. So my grandmother had put 2 ponytails on each side of my head, and my hair was so thick that on the ends, you couldn't put the little clippy barrettes. You had to put the the little cluckers. I had little clucks on the end, and there was hair hanging out from under the cluck. So my mom was giving my little brother, who was 2, I think at the time, little not quite 2 years, gave me a haircut. So I wanted a haircut, but nobody would cut my hair. And clearly what I wanted was more important. So I went into the bedroom where she kept her sewing and I got scissors. Now, let's understand that I didn't know scissors from scissors. So she had what they call pinky shears, the ones that look like zigzags. So I decided that I was going to just give myself a little trim. So I take the hair that's under the clucker ball on my left side. I remember the sides. Understand? I don't know why. I think that ass whooping was burnt this particular haircut into my brain. Okay. So I cut under the under the cluckers on my left side, and I decided that you know what, that was not enough hair. So I go above the cluckers on my right side. Now my grandmother comes in and sees the debacle in which I had done, and she knew that I had sealed my fate. She knew that I had essentially decided that on this day I was gonna get my whole ass beat off. Cause when he came in from work, she was standing in front of me, trying her best to keep me from being massacred, just beat down. So they got into a little argument, a little tat. He caught hold to me around my grandmama and he beat the brakes off me. Because I did cut the hair. I did. Now, I don't know. That's just how they were raised. I know that I wouldn't have did that. Nick cut a whole plug out his head. I just let him walk around with that plug cut out his head before I decided to fix it. To let him know that this is what happens when you play with clippers. I found it was funny. So I let him walk around for a couple hours, a little few hours with his friends and his cousins and walk around and play. And while they was like, "What's wrong with your head?" Well, I tried to cut it. Well, why you do it right there? Him having to explain this hole in his head at I think it was like 2. He had to explain this little thing to everybody as a 2 or 3-year-old. I can't remember which one. Because they were like small wireless clippers I had got to like edge him up to keep his hair clean because his hair was like mine. He didn't get hair till he was a little older. So and his hair was kind of blondish. It's kind of a blondish brown. And it was like 2 or 3 tones of hair. So when he did that little scoop, he did like it was right there where you could see it from the front and from the back. But it wasn't in the front. It was like right there on that good part of his head, where you could see it. I wouldn't have beat him for that, but I did let him walk around trying to explain that hole for a while. Anyway, but even with that ass whooping, that was still my daddy. And nothing could change that. Nothing could change that to this day. Nothing. Nothing can change how I feel about this man who was in my life for maybe 6 years. 50 years ago. That's a half a century ago. All right. Papa with me once. I was playing with a stapler. That's what I don't. Yeah, I got that whole butt whipping, Reginald. I sure did. Hey, Marguerite. Hey, Reginald. I see y'all. Hey, y'all. I try not to look at the chat if y'all wondering why I'm gonna look every now and again. I try to look at the chat. So I look at the chat, I get thrown off. So if you were born in the 60s, raised in the 70s, then you know that your parents were all about corporal punishment, spanking. That's just what it was. 80s babies, it's the same thing. As times changed, spankings changed. They took corporal punishment out of schools but it was still daddies. Baby, was your daddy the disciplinarian or your mom? And sometimes that was good, sometimes that was bad. Daddy was always, I'm gonna tell you daddy when he get home. And I don't know if that was good because that made kids disproportionately scared of their daddies than of their mamas. Because mamas were the sneak attack villains. Mamas was going to pet you and love you, but you catch your mama wrong, especially at church. I don't know why mamas was a church thing. Mama's more church thing than daddy's, even though daddy's went to church. Your mom was the one that got you in church. No, no. Anyway, but I digress. Hold on. All right. So I'm going to give you my takes on fatherhood. Um, okay. As time went on, and my mom married her final husband, and even though we weren't physically together all the time, I spent time because I lived in Alabama, they lived in Georgia. I was with my grandmother, and that's who raised me. And I did spend summers with my mom, and I had her husband, who at the time I was older, and I never called him dad. His name was Frank, and I never called him dad. I always called him Frank. I didn't call him Daddy Frank. I never called him dad, but he did dad stuff. And if you know any of my backstory, my mom wasn't. eh. So he tried to be a buffer between us at times. He never went out of his way to be super daddy, but he went out of his way to be a good man. He was my sister's dad. He tried his best with my brother. He even after him and my mom broke up, even after my mom left and left my brother up there with him, he still tried to be my dad, my brother's dad. And I guess for lack of a better term, he was because he'd been in my brother's life since he was 2, and he tried his best. And to me, that's what a dad does. Kids are not kids are not things that you can put into a box and say that this is 100% correct or this is 100% correct. Kids, you have to learn as you go, and each child is unique. No raising situation, no parental situation, even within the same parents, is the same. How you go about raising each child is unique to that child, even if they got the same mom and dad. So I give fathers that stick around and that step up their props, because a lot of times we don't. A lot of times, even when we see single fathers with their kids, we wonder where the mother is, and we wonder loudly, well, why he got the kids? Don't nobody ever say that about mom. He got the kids because he donated the sperm and he wanted to take care of his children. So my stepfather, and it wasn't until he passed away that I realized our connection. And I know that seems selfish and I know that seems crazy, but in his obituary, now understand, when he passed away, I was an adult. In his obituary, it put his children. It was, I know they're gonna put Sean, that's my brother's name, because he went by um, Frank's last name, and my sister. I didn't think I was gonna be in there, and I know maybe that's stupid. I don't know why I didn't, but I didn't think I was gonna be in there. And when I looked and I read the obituary while everybody was waiting to go into the the limos and everything, um, I was sitting there and I didn't read it in the church. His funeral was the first funeral I went to since I was like 7 years old. And I was like, I don't know how old I was. I want to say I was like 22, 23 when I went. And so it had been a long time. I hadn't been to another funeral, and my mama wanted me to go to. I don't know why she always wanted me to go to funeral. I don't know what's wrong with her. I don't know. I wasn't going. She just dragged me. I wasn't going. And it wasn't because I was scared of him, because I'm not. I'm not scared of stuff like that. It's just because since my father passed away, that's just not nowhere I want to be at. And if I could, and if I could not go, I wasn't going. Cause she used to try to drag me to funerals of people I didn't know, like her uncles or her great uncles, people that were 8,000 years old when I met them when I was a child. I don't know. Nobody don't know these people. But I digress. Anyway, and it wasn't until I was sitting there and I read it and it hit me. I hadn't cried. I hadn't cried the whole funeral. And I was sitting in the car by myself and I just broke down. And I didn't realize all that time that I did have a father figure that I could look towards. And that hit me because you don't think about all the things that daddy does that has no name, all the times that you turned to the father figure in your life just out of habit, habitually. And you don't even think you're doing it. You don't even realize you're doing it. And I realized that if I needed something, I could have went to him. If I needed somewhere to stay, I could have went there. If I needed somebody to help me, I could have called him. And I know that. So on this day, as I realized that wherever he is, I want to tell him thank you. Was he there all the time? No. Was he and all the time in? No, because of the situation with my mom and him. No. But was he the daddy that you could count on if you needed something or you needed somebody? Not money or something, but just needed, hey, yeah, he was somebody I could have counted on for that. And I knew that, even if I didn't say it out loud. So I want to thank him and appreciate him, even if he's not here for that. I want him to know that it was appreciated that I did see him. So fast forward to me having a baby. When you on the outside looking in situations, single motherhood, single parenthood, not just single motherhood, but single parenthood, being a single parent, not just single mother. Nobody, I don't think anybody, well, excuse me, let me take that back. If you watch TV, women do go to sperm banks and decide that they're at a place in their life to where they want a baby, but they don't have a partner. So I'm not talking about those anomalies. I'm talking about a single woman out here, sexually active single woman with a husband, a boyfriend. On the exception of those planned parents, that Planned Parenthood, nobody sets out to be a single parent. I don't think anybody having sex with somebody else goes into this situation. You know what? I'm gonna get pregnant today, and I'm not gonna get pregnant by somebody who's gonna be there. I'm gonna get pregnant by somebody I see every now and again, or I'm gonna get this girl pregnant over here. I don't even know her last name. I don't think anybody goes into that situation. Now, do you make mistakes? Yes. Do you know you should have protection? Yes. Do you use protection and don't work? Yes. So there are so many different variations on why somebody gets pregnant and why somebody becomes a parent that you can't pinpoint just one situation. But I don't think anybody willingly goes into parenthood thinking, I'm going to do this most difficult shit by myself. I know I wouldn't. I know I didn't. I know I, in my old infinite wisdom, had I been able to pick the date, the time, and the situation, would not have picked the date, the time, and the situation in which I became a single parent. But I did know this. Even though the financial aspect of raising a child needs to be addressed, my main thought process in this situation of not being with the father of my child was the effect it would have on my kid. The in and out daddy effect. The here today, going tomorrow. And that affected me. And that I gave more thought to that than whether or not he was going to pay child support, than whether or not we were going to be good people, friends. I didn't give that. My thought process was, how would this person affect my kid without consistency? I don't think anybody goes into the parenthood thinking that they're going to have to subject their child to inconsistency. And there's nothing worse on a kid than inconsistency. Let me tell you why. To a child, even a teenage child, even a young adult, you being consistent and being there for your kid is all your kid has as far as you're concerned. That's all they have as far as you're concerned. The knowledge that you're going to be there. The knowledge that if they fall back, you are there catching them. The knowledge that they're cheering at your games, they're telling you did a good job on your A's, they're fussing at you when you do stuff you ain't got no business doing. They're constantly setting boundaries. They're constantly yet letting you know the difference between right and wrong. Because I'm not talking about consistency and all things great. I'm talking about consistency. I'm talking about consistent if they fucking up and you're consistently there on them, that you don't give up. I'm talking about that consistency. I don't think anybody goes into that situation, even fathers. And I want y'all to look around. Now, I'm sure that there are exceptions to every rule. I'm sure there are out there people that think that if I have just one more baby, that person will act right. So it don't matter if I have another baby, I take care of the other 17. I guess I can take care of 18. One of them. I'm sure there are exceptions to all these rules. But as a general rule, the general population, the general people out there getting by as time goes by, I don't think anybody gets out there thinking that I'm going to handle this shit by myself, because it is super duper hard to do. Because I'm going to tell y'all something. I told Nick's dad, father, from the giddy up, from the jump, I said, either you're going to be there or you're not. I'm not just talking financially. Be there. Let him know. Be at the game. Throw the ball. Call him. Shit. If we ain't in the same state or area, call him. How you doing? How was this? How was your day? If you can't do that, fine. Cool. I will kill you off. And he was like, you gonna kill me? I said, no, but you'll be a very nice man who died in a car accident right before he was born. I was raised on soap operas. Tell me I can't make some shit up. What? What? There is so much out there that you can't control as far as your kids are concerned. But I know I'm the kind of person, if I can control it in some way to keep my child from some kind of pain and sorrow and harm, I'm going to do that. If I'm gonna lie, I'm gonna lie. Shit. The biggest lie everybody tell is that they don't lie. That's the first lie that they tell. If you got kids, you lie. If you got children, you will tell a lie. Because we lie to them all the time. Hold on. Right. Well, Jenny, hold on. Oh, Granny was a disciplinarian. I got countless beatings for her, even for stuff I didn't do or have thought of doing because I hadn't. Yeah, that's messed up. They did used to beat you because because you hadn't had a whooping in a while. I get that. Thank you, Yaya. Huh? It's time for a whooping. What you thought about doing last week? Okay, come here. Hell, that doesn't make any sense. But anyway, that's old school, so that is what it is. Um, but we talking about daddies. So let's get back to daddies. If you got little girls, a father figure is a very special thing for them to have. Because if your baby and when I say a father figure, it doesn't even have to be somebody you're dating. It can be a grandfather, it can be an uncle, it can be your best friend, somebody that your little girl looks to and realize that this is the kind of man she should expect, desire, and deserve, not just anybody, not just an anybody. So yes, they hold a special place. They hold a very, very special place, just like mamas do. Single ladies, if you out there, you ain't gotta go get you a boyfriend, some random people that's gonna come in and out of your life, a best friend, an uncle, a granddaddy. Let your baby know that there are good men out there, and that's exactly what she should be looking for. So let's talk about these daddies. These. I have the honor. Oh, let me tell y'all what I did. So y'all know. Let me tell y'all how slow I am. I have to, because it's funny. So, as you know, we babysit Penelope. Grandparents, that is what we are. So last night, Charles came down here for whatever reason, and I was talking about cooking. I said something about him being this. No, what happened was DC was upstairs, did a video last night. She came downstairs, and I said, "What up, chef?" But it wasn't DC, it was Charles. And he said, "No, I ain't cooking this weekend." He said, "I normally cook." He said, "I'm off Sunday and Monday this week." I was like, Father's Day. I was like, boy, I forgot you was a daddy. I forgot. I am so sorry. I felt so bad. I felt so bad. I did. I felt so bad. Seeing Penelope. Hell, Penelope was talking in the background when he came downstairs. I forgot that Charles was a daddy. I felt bad and stupid all and it wasn't Father's Day, so it's not like I missed telling them Happy Father's Day. It's not like it was Monday. It was yesterday. So what ain't Father's Day yet? But I had no plans of saying because I smooth forgot that he was a daddy. So that tells y'all exactly what my brain be at sometimes. I smooth forgot. Hey, Marguerite, that he was a daddy. So it is. Did I? No, I didn't. Yeah, I forgot. So just whatever. I forgot. Sue me. But I said it on the appropriate day, so I didn't forget. It's still funny though. And I couldn't help but laugh at my own dumb self because because he said, "Well, I ain't cooking. It's Father's Day weekend." I was like, and for a second, understand. For a second, I'm like, what the hell they got to do with you? It in my head, I didn't say it out loud. In my head, as I was saying in my head, what they got to do with y'all? I realized, oh shit, he got a whole baby upstairs. So, if anybody else ever has those moments of brain damage, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad at all. So I don't know. For everybody that has sons or son-in-laws, I don't know how it is for you to see your son and your son-in-laws and your kids interact with their kids, but I love to watch both of them, mother and father. But I love watching Charles with Penelope. And that's really what I wanted, for Nick growing up and stuff like that. That's really what I wanted. That interaction. That he'd come pick her up and he'll bring her down to see us. And she's just hanging on. Charles is 6'4", big man. And this little bitty baby that's hanging on. But it's you can tell, even at her young age, even at 6 months, there's no fear. You can tell that at 6 months, she knows this is my daddy. There's no fear in her. There's no nervousness. There's no anxiousness. This is my daddy. And that's the most beautiful thing in the world to me. To watch kids interact with their parents, to watch babies interact, especially, and to watch new parents interact with their kids. That is the most beautiful thing to me. I don't know, somebody said something. I did. I swear I was like, and okay, and anyway. But we don't give fathers enough props for fathering. We don't give fathers enough props for dadding. Let me say it like that. And their role in your kid's life, even if they're not there. Even an absent father has a role in a child's life. I've never talked about my son's father to my son. I've never downed him. I've never told him he was this, or this. I've never done any of that. I gave him the option to ask when he was ready to know this information, to ask if he wanted, to not ask. But because I never wanted it to be how I felt about him. I wanted it to be 100% how my son felt. Because I know that coming up, I want my son to have a better interaction with his kids. I don't want my son to father a kid and not be there to enjoy, because the situation. So even absent fathers have a role to play in the upbringing of their children. Just like absent parents play a role. But today we focusing on fathers. Me not having had one for the majority of my life, I don't have a lot of knowledge about it. I know what I would want one to be. I know how I would want one to interact with me and my son and my daughter. But that's just feelings. That's not fact. Anything I'm talking about now is just feelings and hopes and dreams and woulda and shouldas and couldas. But to anybody in the chat, y'all talk about your dads. And what you feel about fathers. It's Father's Day. Is it somebody you wish you could say Happy Father's Day to? Is it somebody you wish you could take Happy Father's Day away from? Is there somebody you said Happy Father's Day to this morning? To the daddies out there being mama and daddy. Because it's a lot of mama daddies out there. Just like it's a lot of daddy mamas. Somebody being everything. I mean, for a minute there I was alone, take care of Nick and making sure that he was not only being who I wanted him to be, but being the man he wanted to be. Trying to show him how to potty. I don't have a penis, but I still had to stand up over the toilet and try to show him how to do it. Talking to him about sex. I have to talk to him about sex from the perspective of a woman, of a female. I can't talk to him about sex as a perspective of a guy. I know what I want guys to do and what I don't want them to do. I can tell them that. You know. So I look at the father that's upstairs and how he's so new to the job and how it's so effortless and how it's so natural. And I'm so proud of Charles. And he's only 6 months in. He has thousands of months to go, hundreds of thousands of days to go. It's going to be good days, it's going to be bad days. But all of it is I don't know, it's crazy. Even the bad days are still good because it's my kid. That's how I look at it. Anyway. Hey, Pauline. So, babe, I'm going to get my wife to talk in a minute because she is the opposite of me. She grew up with her father, and her father is still alive. So, she has a perspective that I don't have about the daddies. Um, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, I know talk can make your mouth dry. So I hope everybody is having a great day, by the way. I hope everybody's having a good Sunday. I hope to all the married couples, to all the married parents, I hope you gave your daddy, I hope you gave your husband breakfast in bed because it's daddy day. Or at least cook breakfast for him. I hope he got let off on his chores today. He can take them up tomorrow. I hope you didn't do like me and forgot what the day was and forgot he was a daddy. That would have been funny though, if you did forget. That would have been funny. But yeah. I look around and I look out at TV and social media, and I see all these young people with kids nowadays, and a lot of young ladies are doing it by themselves. A few young men are doing it by themselves. And I wonder how different is it? Because when I grew up in the 70s and 80s, it was getting away from the nuclear family, mom, dad, kids. Because, the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 30s, 40s, 50s, mom, dad, kids. 60s, the summer of love. Everybody was free love. Everybody was out there dipping and dabbing and whipping around, and came a lot of folks like me. We're out of Texas Roadhouse having, that's what's up. That's what's up. Take daddy out, barbecue for dad like he be barbecuing for other stuff. How many of y'all got dad barbecue kits and barbecue pits and stuff like that? Y'all know how hard it is to shop for Father's Day. Just this is random and ain't got nothing to do with nothing else. Just made me think about it. Y'all know how hard it is to shop for Father's Day. It's just like everything. It's just like buying clothes for boys. Because all of them look the same. They don't have a lot of variation. They don't have a lot of variation when it comes to Father's Day, ties, barbecue stuff. Unless your dad has a special hobby like fishing or hunting or things like that. I wonder how many. You know, it's hard to buy for dads. And you very rarely see it on TV. Like for like 2, 3 months before Mother's Day, every other commercial is Kay's Jewelers, and every store is having a Mother's Day sale and a Mother's Day this. They have a Mother's Day furniture sale. Like you're supposed to go buy your mama a couch or some shit. But with dad, Father's Day, like for like 2, 3 days before Father's Day, you got like 4 commercials on the TV, and it's all random stuff. It's all grills and barbecue stuff. That's all dad is. Why is it so hard? Why is it so little for Father's Day? Don't men like jewelry? I would think that they would do all the same things. I know men are not big on flowers, but I would buy my father flowers because I think men should get flowers just like women do. I buy my father a necklace or some jewelry. I would do that, especially if I saw him looking at something, because old folks ain't gonna buy nothing for themselves. They'll look at it and be like, "Oh, that's nice." Hold on, yeah, people's talking to me. Hey, Scooby Doo, how you doing? All right, but it just hit me. It's hard. They don't have a lot for Father's Day. I don't know. It's just, excuse me, y'all. It's hard because I feel like I should be sad that I didn't know my father, my sperm donor. But I can't be because of all the love I had growing up. I can't be because of the father I lost that day at the house in the bathroom. Because I feel like I would be doing his memory a disservice. So y'all know how much I love to watch Maury. And I watch all the shows because now they have Karamo. Maury don't work. Maury don't do it no more. So now it's Karamo and Paternity Court. How they have and 9 times out of 10, it's a young lady looking for the father. Now you'll have the mother bringing the sons on there to look for the father, they kids, more so than the sons asking for it. Most of the time it's girls looking for their dad. And every time I see one, I don't understand. the desire as an adult to look for someone who didn't look for me. Does that make sense? Thank you, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's hard. I know you're not big on jewelry, but you know, if you bought him something that he would like a bracelet, like a manly bracelet, I don't know. I think he would be like he would surprise you. Yeah, yeah. I think he would surprise you. He may not be big on jewelry, but you bought it, and he'll wear it because you bought it. Thank you, Scooby. But yeah, I for the life of me don't understand looking for someone who was not looking for me. And I know that sounds. I just, like I said, I feel like I should be sad, but I'm not. I try to sometimes I would, especially from the situation where I was, because that whole situation was, I wasn't not just not looked for, but I wasn't necessarily wanted by that side of the family. Because, back in the day, in that time, biracial was not always an awesome thing. So I'll just leave it at that. But I watch these shows and I see the women screaming and hollering and crying about him not being there. And I don't understand what, I don't know. It's hard to even put it into words. I growing up, I didn't have the desire to look to inquire about my sperm donor. And as an adult, I didn't have the desire to look for him. I don't understand. And I watch Maury and Karamo and Paternity Court, and how all the women will go on to look for the fathers. Most of the time, if it's a son, it's the mama looking for the son. Most of the time, it'll be the girls looking for their daddies in their 30s and their 40s. And I don't get it. I mean, I guess like I said, it's personal to each person. So, but I can't for the life of me understand why, as an adult, you would go looking for somebody who wasn't looking for you. I think that would piss me off more so than it would give me any sort of closure on the situation. You see what I'm saying? I think it would piss me off because what could you possibly tell me that would make this situation okay? You see what I'm saying? What could be your justification for making this situation something that would give me any sort of comfort? Well, I was looking for you. I was 3 feet away. So who were you looking for? Well, she said I couldn't come over there. Well, clearly you came over there because y'all had restraining orders, so you didn't pay her no attention. You see what I'm saying? I can't do as an adult. I couldn't do the excuses because as after I had, especially after I had a kid, I can't fathom. I can't fathom him having to look for me and me having to try to make excuses as to why I wasn't there. You see what I'm saying? So I was waiting for you yeah, because you have a different take on the. See, my father passed away. Yours, I can't speak for fathers being in the house the whole time. That's what I'm trying to say. I couldn't figure out what I was trying to say. I can. I can speak on losing a father. I can't speak on having one there because I didn't. And I don't know, would I be in a different place if he was? Hold on, people talking, people talking. Hey, TC, how you doing? Yes, happy Juneteenth. Thank you. My family was going to plan a big cookout for my granddad, but it was too sad. My granddad, oh, was 93. That's shoot. Hold on, Scooby Doo said they make insane too high, just too high, too drunk. What? I can't understand it. Hiya. Oh, and yes, it is also Juneteenth. For anybody who does not know, that is the date in which the final slaves were freed, when we were, as a people, finally free. It is Juneteenth, and it is tomorrow. And I will probably come live tomorrow. I try to stay away from talking about political topics and racial topics, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So tomorrow I'll probably come on and we'll talk about Juneteenth and, you know, the different aspects of racial situations in America and how it's been for Black people in America since we got here. So that's tomorrow. I sound like a what you call it. That's tomorrow's show. Anyway, yeah. So because when we talk about when we hear, for the majority of times, a lot of times when we talk about dads, we segue into the not positive. But the reality is there is positives and negatives for mamas and daddies. We can't just keep jumping on daddy's back. Because the reality is sometimes the mama doesn't want him there. Sometimes the mama's wants and needs overrule those of the child. Sometimes daddy want to be there, but he can't be for whatever reason. And we have to take that into consideration. Not every dad is a deadbeat. So if you got somebody in your life, and I'm not just talking about sperm donors, I'm talking about those men that step up. I'm talking about those stepdaddies that came in the ready-made families and daddy better than daddy. I'm talking about those granddaddies that retired but saw a grandchild that needed a daddy and stepped up and daddied. I'm talking about those uncles who would rather take over the role of daddy than to see their nieces and nephews go without. I'm talking about the village of men that your child can go to when they need them. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not just talking about the daddies in the homes. I'm talking about the daddies down the street. I'm talking about the daddies on the phone. I'm talking about the daddies on FaceTime. I'm talking about the daddies that answer the calls. I'm talking about the daddies that answer the text messages. I'm talking about the men that have no physical connection with this child, but would lay down their lives just like they did. That's what I'm talking about. Make no mistake, those men are out there, and they are out there. There are a lot more of them out there than you know and wish to acknowledge a lot of times, because the deadbeat and the mad mamas and the bad daddies and the absent fathers are just loud. It doesn't mean that they're the majority. It's the quiet majority that's sitting there doing their job every day, taking care of them babies. every day, dealing with I want my mama. Bye, but mad because you're gone. I'm talking about the men that get up every morning and go to work because they know their baby's gonna need this, 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 and this. So make no mistake, there are deadbeats everything's. Deadbeat mamas, deadbeat daddies, deadbeat grandparents, deadbeat siblings, it's deadbeats everything. And because talking about the negative is so much, has so much more, what's the word I'm looking for, baby? Like like the beef sector, it has appeal. Is that what I'm trying to say? You're not helping at all. You're no help at all. I'm not looking at the thing. I'm not looking at the. I'm trying not to look at the chat. Yes, they have deadbeats, everything. So I'm not talking about them, but I am talking about the silent muscle holding up that wall. You know what I'm saying? That person that you can look to. When your baby needs to learn how to shave his face, you got somebody you know you can call. Come and show him how to do that. When your baby needs to tie a tie, you got somebody that you know can show him how to tie a tie. It's not always about some man being in the house all the time. Because trust me when I tell you, it's a whole lot of single mothers out there with a husband. It's a whole lot of single daddies out there with a wife. So make no mistake about it. Just because they in the house don't mean they doing a job. Don't think you're on top or you're a step higher because you can say my husband. Because if you still got to do everything by yourself, and the only time that your husband see the kids is when he kissing them goodnight, and you still feel like a single mother, and you got to call this, and the third, but you got to hold somebody over there, and you could just flip that around and change it to mama. We just talking about daddies, which is why make no mistake about it. There are millions of single mothers with married single mamas. Because being a single parent doesn't mean you're not married or not in a relationship or not in a stable. It means that you're the only person that's taking care of this kid. Hi, Bentley. Did you finish? Go get your bone. Why are you looking at me? Like you want to jump on me? Go that way. I don't know why Bentley gets in his brain sometimes. He must come and talk to me. Hi, fuzzy face. So I'm talking about the men that are there. I'm talking about the co-parenting. I'm talking about when you call when your baby got a fever at 3 o'clock in the morning and you can call him and be like, little Timmy got a fever. I got Tylenol, but I need some ibuprofen. Can you go get it for me? I don't want to take him out. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, he gets up, goes, drops it off, checks on his baby, and then goes home. I'm talking about the men who do not let women who are not the mothers of their kids come between them and their kids. And we don't talk about them because it is so much more popular to talk about the sorry, the deadbeat, the man that ain't there. We should be giving the men that are there their props just as loud, if not louder. I'm talking about the man who shows up even when him and the mama ain't getting along. I'm talking about the man who goes to the game, but he has to stand over there on the other side of the field because him and the mama can't be in the same place together. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the dad just drop it off on the porch. I'm talking about the daddies that's going to court to make sure that they get 2 hours with their baby every Saturday. Y'all think that's nothing? Y'all think this man struggling and scratching and scraping to see his baby for 2 hours, come 2 hours, drive 4, 5 hours away to come see his baby for 2 hours is nothing? You got people that won't cross the street for their kids. Make sure you give these daddies that's trying, that's hustling, that's struggling, but making sure these babies know they're loved because that's what they need to know. They need to know that the people who went together to make them didn't just make them, but they love them. I may not be able to physically be there, but know that I am there. Do you need to talk about it? Call me. You may not see me, but I saw you. No, I didn't come up to you at graduation, but I was there, baby. I watched you walk across the aisle because I didn't want to take you away from your day because you know how me and your mama we get together. So when we get a chance, I'm gonna take you to dinner and we gonna celebrate. But baby, I saw you. I was there. Hey, Willie Brown, how you doing? Yeah, I had two children. My husband and I got together. We had one together. He took on that responsibility of me already having two children. We married. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Willie Brown. Happy Father's Day, DC. TC said Happy Father's Day to Dad. We get so caught up in the social media. We get so caught up in the stereotypes that we don't realize that as awesome as it would be for every child who is born to have their mother and their father right there with them from birth to the end of time, that's not reality. The reality is that sometimes people stay together, sometimes they break apart. Sometimes kids are playing and sometimes they're oops. Sometimes parents get along and sometimes they don't. Sometimes daddies want to be there and sometimes they don't. Sometimes mama want the daddy more than they want the baby, so they let the baby suffer and the daddy suffers too. Sometimes part time is better than no time. All the time, part time is better than no time. But sometimes part time is all they have. And that is just as important as full time. Imagine, I'm going to give y'all the scenario. Let me give y'all this little scenario. Imagine if you thought your daddy was never there. For whatever reason, mom and daddy didn't get together, didn't stay together, couldn't get along, and you thought he wasn't there. He wasn't there when you graduated from middle school. He wasn't there when you graduated from high school. He wasn't there your first day at college. He wasn't there when you graduated from college. He wasn't there the first day you got a job. He wasn't there this day if you played sports that day. He wasn't there the first day. He wasn't there when your baby was born. Now imagine that's the only thing you thought. You talk to him every now and again. He tries, whatever. But imagine you thought he wasn't there. He passes away. You go to his house. You're called to his house. You go to his house. And you and your siblings, or you and your mama, or you, because maybe it's just you, go through his stuff. And you find this box of photos, of programs, of articles, little tapes that are recorded. And everything that you didn't think he was at, he was there. He got a picture of you when you walked across the aisle, when you left the eighth grade and went to the, what does it, go to the sixth grade, fifth grade, go to sixth grade? Is that middle school? Uh, he got a picture of you in your cap and gown, getting your diploma. He got the program from when you did this. He got the pom pom from your first game. You understand what I'm saying? And all that stuff you felt washes away because even though you didn't see him, he was there. I wish there was a way that even if parents aren't together, that they could get along for their kids. I wish that that was magic. I wish I had a lot of magic. It's a lot of things I wish I could magically wiggle my fingers or twinkle my nose and it would change. But I wish that even if parents can't be together, they could get along. It's sixth grade, okay. Y'all know what I'm saying? There are a lot of reasons why a parent can't be there. It could be mental health issues and they didn't want you to have to deal with it. Parent could have been incarcerated and they didn't want you to have to deal with it. It's a lot of stuff as parents that we don't want our children to have to deal with. And imagine if you and the other parent are separated, so y'all can't back each other up. Because if y'all are together, y'all can back each other up. If I'm going through something, DC can back me up with Nick. She's been in Nick's life for over half his life, more than half his life. She can if I'm falling, she can take my slack when she needs to. But imagine if you're in a situation where this other person can't prop you up because of something you're going through you don't want to have your child have to deal with. And there are a lot of things that as parents we don't want to put on our kids. Financial things, medical things. Some things I think we need to tell our kids, but that's me thinking that kids don't need to be surprised. But the same me thinks they should know because like I said, I tell my wife all the time, I was raised in a time where grown folks shit is grown folks shit, and it's always grown folk stuff. There's stuff in my 30s and my 40s my grandmama still didn't tell me because it was her grown folk stuff and it wasn't none of my business. So I got this we should tell the kids so they won't be surprised and so they won't be scared if they see something. But then on the same token, I'm like, well, that ain't got nothing to do with them because that's grown folk stuff and we gotta handle it. But think of all the parents who have to hide so much of themselves because they try to keep their kids from it. But in doing so, their kids don't get the full parent. And I think a lot of fathers have that too. A lot of fathers are going through work and jobs and not feeling like they can financially support their kids and thinking that's what a lot of times as mamas we come at dad it's about money and not about the other stuff, the intangible stuff that we need from them, sometimes more than a dollar. You got a lot of fathers that don't want to be away from their kids because they're incarcerated. We don't realize, especially in the Black community, how many fathers are incarcerated and they can't be in their kids' life. Not because they don't want to, but they can't. But also, these same fathers don't want their children coming up to a jail every weekend. So, what do? Whose fault is it? Do you take your kids up to the jail every weekend to talk to their father who's incarcerated, who's in jail? Is that better than not doing it? Do you go against what the daddy wants? I don't want him up here. I don't want him seeing me in this jumpsuit. I don't want him hearing these other people. I don't want him in this environment. I just say him, but I don't want them in this environment. Are they a deadbeat? We got so many people, parents, going through mental health issues that's so hard to explain to a child. You barely know how to take, you barely can take care of yourself, you barely can manage yourself. What do you do with this kid over here that needs you to be 100% of the time, and you barely working with 20%? Is that deadbeat? I want us to take everything when we talking about parents and daddies. I want us to take everything into consideration. Now, make no mistake about it. There are sorry ass men out there who just who had these babies with everybody, and I don't know what they think is cute and or what. I don't know what minimum wage regular job worker think he can take care of 10 kids. I don't know what the hell. I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about true deadbeats. I'm talking about people we lump into deadbeat status because we don't know how to look at it from their point of view. I know there's so much I don't want Nick to have to deal with when it comes to me. Not that I don't think that he could handle it, because he's a strong young man and he's a smart young man, but because I don't want him to have to handle it. I don't think I could get myself gone because that's just not who I am. But if I had to go away for a little while to get situation, does that make me a deadbeat? No. That makes me taking care of myself so I can take care of my kid. So why do we apply that status to daddies that are doing the same thing? Y'all get what I'm saying? Baby, you are just not. I don't like you. No. I haven't mellowed out at my old age. Make no mistake about it. But I have come to realize that there are so many different shades of every color that we can't lump every person in the same group. Like I said, in a perfect world where there's magic, I could wave a magic wand and all the children and all the fathers are always together, and it's a perfect father child relationship, and everybody has that. But it's not a perfect world. And there's so many factors that go into just living that I think we need to really, really make sure that our kids know. that just because he's not there doesn't mean he doesn't want to be there. Like I said, I never talked about or talked down his dad, his father, because that's not me. One. And because I need for my child, as he becomes an adult, as he gets older, to make his own decisions about things that affect him, and that affects him. I can't have how I feel about the situation be how he feels about the situation. And I really want parents to stop doing that. If I could say what I want, this is what I want. Mamas, I'm talking to mamas for a second. Whatever the situation is with the father of your children, stop giving your kids your side of the story. If it didn't work out between y'all, that's y'all. You got to look at this little person you made and make the decision that regardless of how I feel about the other half of this little person, I'm not going to let this little person know that. If he cheated on you and left you for somebody else, that is not the daddy who did that. That's the husband or the boyfriend. Don't talk about the daddy the same way you talk about the husband or the boyfriend, because the husband or the boyfriend is not dating the little person. That's the little person's father. If he was sorry when you met him and you thought you was Paulina King's sweet coochie sunshine and was gonna stop him from being sorry, that's your fault. Are you telling the little person that had the part you played in the birth? If you're not, don't speak bad about the other person, because let me tell y'all mama something. Just in case y'all didn't know, when you speak bad about the daddy, you're speaking bad about that kid, because that's what that kid feels. When you telling your kid you look just like your damn daddy, the only thing that child hears is all the times you said how much you hated that man. And then you just told your child how much you hate that child because you said you look just like your damn daddy. Every time you talk about what a sorry mofo he is, all you hear, all your baby hears, is what a sorry mofo your baby is. Stop talking about them daddies and them fathers and them absentee parents in front of the child. Mamas and daddies, stop doing that. Because the child only sees what the child has of that person in them. And if you can't stand that person, then don't you think your child might feel the same way? If he was so sorry, if he was so jacked up, if he was so this and so that, why you had a baby by? Mamas, stop, stop. I'm only talking about mamas right now because I'm talking about fathers. Stop talking about how sorry, how miserable, how evil, how this, how that, how they treated you. You are not the child. Because every bad word you say, every disparaging thing, every time you call him ugly, every time you call him sorry, every time you call him trifling, every time you do all that in front of this child or to this child, the only thing this child sees is how much of the daddy you see in them. And you may think that you're doing something, but the only thing you're doing is slowly beating this baby up. Now, all jokes aside, Today I watched this. I started watching. I went to sleep on it because it was kind of boring at the end. After a while, it got more. But the beginning was it was a scary movie. So father passed away. Mother was drinking and not handling it well. Teenage daughter. Teenage daughter was already going through teenage puberty and adolescence and trying to figure out their way in life. Mama's drinking and trying to handle the passing of her husband, not realizing that not only did your husband pass away, but your daughter's father passed away. So she's treating this daughter like her daughter's supposed to do something about that. Like her daughter has some kind of, she's supposed to treat her special. Well, who's treating the daughter special? So anyway, fast forward. The mother decides, instead of talking to the daughter, instead of, I really think we should move the house. I see your father in the house, da 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 da. The mother just decides one day to come home when the daughter comes home from school and tells the daughter, I decided that it's too hard for me to live in the house. That's what she said. It's too hard for me to live here. Too many memories for me. So I decided I'm going to sell the house and we're going to move to whatever, it's a scary movie. So it was the middle of nowhere, house back in the woods, just so, nobody hear them scream. But anyway, I digress. So what made me correlate the horror movie to what I'm saying now is that when the daughter got upset about the mom taking her away from the only friend she has that's getting her through her father passing away because her and her mama are not clicking, she got upset, as kids get upset. So what she says to her daughter, she looked just like him. I just wish I could snatch his face off of you. And at that moment, the daughter decided that she was going to raise a demon to kill her mama. But that's just different. But did you see how that felt? Father passed away. Mother can't handle it. Can't handle the situation with the daughter. Makes a unilateral decision. And when the daughter gets upset about it, which reason anybody would get upset about it, you look just like him. I just wish I could. What got me was, I know it wasn't a sentimental line, or it wasn't supposed to be heartfelt or painful in that way. It's supposed to be scary. But she said, I just wish I could snatch his face off of you. Do you know how many times I've heard mamas talk about how you look just like your damn daddy? Right after she got through talking about how much she can't stand him. Right after she got through talking about how much she hated him. When she gets mad with the kid, that's what she say. If the kid does something bad, you're acting just like your damn daddy. You look just like him. You see what I'm saying? Hey, Pauline, all right. Stop doing that, people. Stop associating the parent that's not there with badness and sorriness. And, huh? Stop doing that. Uh-huh. Stop doing that. Because you're telling your child, not the absent parent. The absent parent ain't doing this. We're not putting this on the man that ain't there or the mama that ain't there. You're telling your child how sorry, how trifling, how this, how that they are. In most situations, in 99.9% percent of the situations of bullying, a child's first bully is their parent. A child's very first exposure to bullying is their parent. And a lot of times it has to do with the person that's there being pissed off with the one that's not. You understand what I'm saying? Stop doing it. Anybody who hears this, bomb squad or not, stop telling your child how ugly their dad is. Stop telling your child how sorry their dad is. Stop telling your child how trifling their dad is. Stop it. Stop it. If you can't say nothing nice about their daddy, don't say nothing. Let your child form his own opinion about the absent parent in his life. If you and the absent parent don't get along, that's between you and the absent parent. That's not between you, the child, and the absent parent. If the absent parent is a whole, they got nothing to do with that child. Because sometimes in some situations, and sad to say, it's better if the other person don't come around because of how y'all act when y'all get together. How many people, how many people in the chat or listen to my words at some point would have wished that your parents had got a divorce because of how they acted toward each other when they was together? How many people realize when they got into adulthood, how many people realize that the only reason they mom and daddy stayed together was because of the kids? How many people out here right now, the only reason they stand in a marriage or the reason they say they stand is because of a child? What goodness are you doing your kids? What good thing is you are you doing staying with a person you can't stand and doing that in front of your kids? On this Father's Day 2023, let's start some new stuff. Let's celebrate what the fathers do. Let's not focus on what they don't do. Let's be respectful when we talk about the absent parent or the one that's not there. Let's realize that maybe not being together is better than being together for the sake of our child. Let's try to keep our opinions about the relationship that two adults had away from the kids. Let's let our babies grow up knowing they loved and that's it. The only thing your kids should know from you is that they're loved and they're wanted and that you got their back. All that other stuff you're doing is not helping them. Learn how to work it out for the kids. Stop saying what you don't want. If your ex got other kids out there, let your baby know they siblings, if it's possible. Sometimes it's not possible. If it's possible, let them know they got brothers and sisters out there so that they won't be adults pissed off and mad with each other because I heard this story from my daddy and I heard this story from my mama. There shouldn't be no stories. Your kids should know stories. The only thing your child should know about the person that's not in their life is we didn't work out and it's been hard for him slash her to be in your life because of this, this, and the third. Not any argument, not any ugliness, just some regular truth. Or hell, a good old fashioned lie. What good does it do for your child to see just how much you hate the other parent? What good does that do? Does it help you at all? Does it put you on a higher pedestal? Does it make you look like the better parent? Not to me, it doesn't. My my family used to love to say I wanted my parents together, and I said no, I did not. Then people was toxic. If you would talk to your kids for real and let your kids not be scared to answer a question honestly, because trust me, a lot of kids are scared to answer questions honestly. A lot of kids will tell you that they're no, you're not happy. I know you're not happy. What do you need to be happy? A lot of them kids don't want you just to be somebody girlfriend or somebody wife or somebody husband or somebody boyfriend just because of them. Because kids can tell. Kids can tell you're not happy. Kids can tell you're angry, upset, anxious, mad, want to fight, been fighting, arguing, been arguing. They can tell all that. And a lot of kids, because the only thing, now hear me out, let's go a little crazy with this thought process. A lot of kids feel it's their fault because the only thing keeping them together is the kid. And whose fault is that? The only reason y'all together is because of the kid. So y'all don't think that this child thinks that the reason that you happy, unhappy, and the reason you're sad, and the reason you're this, and the reason you're that is because of them? You think just because you say that's not true that they believe you? Because they see you walking around miserable? Because they hear y'all cussing and fussing and arguing? Because every time you answer the phone, when the daddy call, you call him a this, this, and the third? Do you actually think when you sit around and turn on your child that that's not your fault? That they believe you? They don't. They don't. Married couples, if the only reason you're still married is because of this kid, please rethink that because you're killing your baby spirit. You're killing your baby spirit. Every time y'all in the same room together, y'all miserable, frowning up, face all balled up. You don't say nothing nice to each other. You don't hold hands. Hell, you don't even high five. Y'all don't think y'all kids see that? Y'all don't think when y'all kid, if you can hear your child acting a fool in their room, you don't think your child can't hear your ass over there in your room? You don't think your children hear every slam door, every motherfucker, every thrown dish? You think your kids don't hear that? Because at the end of the day, the only reason that we have Mother and Father's Day is because we got kids. Kids are the only reason we go down this parent route. If you don't want to be called mother and father, you want to be called mama and daddy, act like mama and daddy. Stop acting like mother and father. Stop acting like two DNA samples. Hold on. Hey, Stacy. I live in Virginia. I left my husband when Rand was 8 months because I was like, nope, I don't want her growing up in toxicity. Yes. Oh, I thought that. All right, time out. I see that my stupid brain is still working from yesterday with the. I didn't forget he was a daddy. I thought it said live. My bad. I'm just gonna go back to being over here. I read that all wrong. Oh, you know what? Shut up. I read that sentence all wrong. Sound like I didn't know where you live. I feel like I used to have a pretty decent. I used to have my IQ. Yeah, it's kind of up there. I feel like I lost a few points. I feel like I've dipped below the. I feel like I feel like I dipped below a certain level. Anyway, my bad. I'm sorry, y'all. Anyway, and parents, I know it's hard. I know it's hard out there by yourself and take care of kid by yourself. But sometimes, for the sake of the child, Mother's Day and Father's Day need to be separated and put in two different houses. Hey, hey. They come look around. All right, that's the dog. Anyway. Yeah, hold on. I left my husband when Rand was 8 because I was like, nope, I don't want her growing up in this toxicity. Yes, it. I know it's hard. That's what I was saying. I had to get back to where it was. I know it's hard to do it by yourself. It is tears. It is crying in the bathroom when your child is asleep. It is trying to figure out how, if you kill Peter to pay Paul, can you knock Paul out to pay Simon? Can you run up on Simon and steal his shit and pay somebody else? I know it is. I don't have enough time for myself. I know it is. I'm going to mess this baby up. I know it's hard, but it's exponentially harder than having to fix your child's self-worth and self-esteem. Having to fix your child's psyche. It's harder. That's harder than having to hope your child believes when you tell him it's not him. Even though what y'all fussing about is being parents. Y'all see what I'm saying? Do y'all hear how that don't make no sense? It's just like when you're dating or married to somebody, and the first thing when y'all break up, the other person says, it's not you, it's me. Do you believe them? And you grown. Shut up, TC. Yes, I messed that sentence up, but you ain't have to tell anybody. You ain't tell anybody. Even though I told everybody, you ain't tell anybody. I did mess that sentence up. That's okay. Um, did you believe that shit the first time you heard it? Before I forget, because y'all know I forget where I was at. The first time somebody told you it's not you, it's me. Did you believe it? Now imagine telling a child to believe what you don't believe as an adult. You're not the reason we're arguing. It's not you. That's not why we're fussing. That's not why she stormed off. That's not why he threw the plate. It's not you. Sometimes the best parents do it from next door. Stop making the parent that's not there 24/7 feel like he's not contributing to this child. Because whether it's positive or negative, it's a contribution nonetheless. Stop making the situation so toxic for the other person that they're willing to give up their seed. They're willing to give up their egg. They're willing to give up the fruit of their loins to not be around you. And make no mistake about it. Most of the time, it's the parents that don't want to be around them. It's not the kid that they don't want to see. Most of the time, it's not the kid. It's the other parent. Because they know as soon as they knock on the door to pick the baby up, y'all fussing. As soon as they get to the drop off point, you want to argue and start some shit. You know how many videos I watched of dads trying to pick their kids up and the mamas want to start an argument or a fussing? I seen one lady get mad because the dad gave the sons haircuts and she wanted to call the police on him because he abused them because he cut their hair. Or not wanting to give the daddy the baby because you couldn't put the baby in the car seat. You wouldn't hand the baby off to him to get a hug before it go in the car seat. You want to argue about, you want to look in the car to see who done been in the car. So I'm going to put this baby in the car. And if I can't do it, then we going to go home. You don't need to have the baby. Because if I can't look in the car and do what I want to do, then you don't need. Y'all know how many of them I seen? That's not for the child. That's not for your kid. You're not doing that for the betterment of your child. And when your child sees that, what do you think that they feel? You think that because they're 2 or 3 or 4 years old, what you do doesn't have an impact on them? I am 56 years old, and I remember seeing my father laying on that bathroom floor. I remember that. I don't know whether I've ever seen my birth father, but I remember seeing my father laying on that floor and my mother working to save him. Hell, to bring him back because I think he probably was already deceased by the time she started. So if you don't think that the things that you do have an impact on your child into their childhood, to their teenagehood, and their adulthood, you are sadly mistaken. If you think they won't remember how you react to that person every time you're around, because see, they don't know what you're doing when they're not around. So as a child, as far as a child concerned, their whole world is when they're around you. So when they're around is the only time they see you acting a fool with the other parent. Do you think that doesn't have an effect? Do you think they don't remember that? Nick says he remembers things when he was 2, 3 years old and he's 18. I didn't do no whole lot of arguing and fussing and fighting in front of Nick, so he can't remember that. He was in one situation where I felt like it was my fault that he was in a situation that was toxic, and I got him out of that situation as soon as I possibly could. The situation he's in now is the situation I want him to be in because he can look back on DC and I and look back like, you know what? That was fun. Did they always get along? They got along, but sometimes they fussed. But it wasn't about me, and they didn't do it in front of me. Am I perfect? Hell no. Do I have? Did nobody ask you to sing no song? Did nobody ask you to agree? Number one, you supposed to say no, baby. You're perfection. Hey y'all, thank you. All right, Stacey Nelson. I've been single parent my son's whole life. I dreaded Father's Day every year. I didn't even mention it to my son while he was growing up. Now he's a dad with two kids and a wonderful one at that. That's my only. That's my only thing. If you didn't mention him, fine. I don't mention my son's. I don't mention him. If my son want to say something, he say something. If he don't, he don't. My son is an amazing man. Y'all seen it? Shit. I am proud and have no problem being that way. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. Now I'm looking for a while. I'm looking for it to be a while before I know what kind of dad he is. I need like 10 more years. 15, 30. No, I'm just playing. But no, I'm a proponent. Look at the baby. See, down here's the daddy. The man that I've been talking about. The one I forgot was a daddy, even though he got the baby in his arms. What's up, Mom? There's the father of Father's Day. Penelope! What happened? Oh! Hey, Mama! You been doing Daddy's Day stuff? What you give Father's Day, Charles? You got a helmet. Oh, 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 oh. Hi, baby. Like I said, Charles is 6 feet 4 inches tall, and Penelope be hanging on him like what? No, she don't. She don't be worried about. She be like whatever. She ain't worried, and that's 6 months old. It's so cute. I love that. He came down here while we was talking about the daddies. Dada, say Dada. You gonna say Dada? Dada? You just say Dada. Hey, babe. Penelope. I mean, Bentley. Billy came up here like Billy came up here like, hey. What, what are you doing? Get off me. Stop it. What are you? Ow! All right, first of all, I'm being accosted by a dog. If y'all wondering why I'm doing nothing, Charles came. Yes, go upstairs. I don't know why you have to go upstairs. But go upstairs. Now, bring some ice when you come back. It is all I want. All right, y'all. I'm gonna devote like 2 minutes to the mamas that's playing daddy. Hey, y'all, to all the mamas that's playing daddy. Sometimes you have a situation where you got to be both. So we got to be mama and you got to teach them how to do daddy stuff. And that's fine. Because sometimes you got to be everything to your baby. So to all the mamas out there that have absolutely no help from the daddies and you pulling double duty and you pulling it strong, I would like to say thank you. My mama did it. My mama had to be my mom and daddy when my daddy passed away. And I'm not saying it because the daddy's sorry. Trust me, there are times when the father's passed away or he's in jail or for whatever reason, away in the military. We forget about all these daddies who get deployed for years at a time. We forget about all these daddies who have never seen their child because they were deployed when they were born. So to all the mamas out there that had to pull daddy duty, that had to be mama and daddy for a couple of years or for their whole life, thank you. Thank you, baby. Thank you for not just being mama, but daddy sometimes. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. And I did not get you a present because I'm the present. I'm the gift. I am the 24/7, 7 day a week present for the rest of your life. But I do appreciate but I do appreciate what you do. I do appreciate you being my other half. I appreciate you being there for my baby and giving him what I sometimes can't give because that's my baby. And I'm going to be mama, but that's my baby. So thank you so much. And to all the other mamas out there who have had to play daddy for whatever reason, who have had to step up and who didn't have a man to help her. Not her father of her own, not a brother, not a best friend. So sometimes you got to be it all. Sometimes you got to be everything. Thank you. You are appreciated. You are seen, and we appreciate it. That's it. So I think I'm actually about to say goodbye. I think Charles was the end. Charles was a culmination of this Father's Day live. Charles coming down here holding him baby, and Penelope sitting there in her spot, and it looking right. You know what I'm saying? How some shit just look right. How 13 pounds can change an entire facial structure. How you can almost see the word love when you look at somebody. So I would like to thank my son/son-in-law for being a great father, and he's gonna get better with time. I would like to thank my wife for being a great father figure. I would like to thank all the ladies out there who are doing it by themselves. I would like to thank all the men out there who are doing it by themselves this Father's Day. I want to thank all the fathers who are doing the best that they can and letting their baby know that. I appreciate you guys so much. Hold on. You're welcome. You're welcome, Stacy. I would like to thank everybody who came into the chat, everybody who came in. I would like to thank everybody who's going to watch this in the replay. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. We appreciate you, daddies. We appreciate you as people and the people you make. Make sure you like this video. If you haven't already liked this video, go ahead and hit that like button for you, girl. Make sure you comment down below. You can comment on this video or you can comment about anything on this video. Give me some topics, some stuff you want to talk about. I'm trying to think of some new things to do so I can have different things so I can come live or make videos more often, because I'm going to tell y'all something. A lot of times I don't really have a topic And I like to have a topic because, yes, I can ramble with the best of them, but I need some kind of structure because I will go off on a wild ass tangent in 3.2 seconds. So hit me up with some comments, with some things to do. I'm thinking about doing this little thing with questions, and y'all are going to have to answer my questions. So if I do it, y'all are going to have to answer my question. And the questions are going to be crazy. The questions are going to be sometimes stupid. They're going to be sometimes fantastical, but they're going to make you think. So I'm trying to do that thing. So y'all hit me up with some ideas. Hit me up with some comments. Hit me up with some topics, something to talk about. Um, if you just scroll past this video and you want to look at the Father's Day video and you like what you hear, you guys subscribe. Make sure if you subscribe, hit that notification bell so that every time we drop a video or go live, you guys can join us. So I want to think I've hit all the buttons. So if I have, this is your girl Lisa. This is a DC Kool-Aid and Lisa production. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on Father's Day. I want to say happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. It's your girl Lisa, and I'm out. Peace.